All right, let's see. This pops up. Okay, it's not popping up. Why is that? Let's see if it's going up on YouTube. Is this still working? It's not showing it. Okay, Instagram. All right. Well, as long as we're live somewhere, then that matters to me. So today we're going to be going through this deal on 1548 Bergen Ave in Birmingham, 35208. So on this property, let's see. This is a 3-bed, 1-bath. Okay. Just going down, learning new zip codes, 35208. $124,000. I'm going to start plugging this in. 1, 2, 4, 500. 3-bed, 1-bath. Let me get some expenses. 128 for property taxes. I'm going to put this number here, 128. And then home insurance, 96. I'm always going to multiply that by 1.2 because usually it's a little bit more expensive for a rental property versus a primary residence property, which is typically what the estimate is for. Now, when I go and look at this property, just doing a quick look at the property, it looks pretty renovated. Doesn't need that much more done that I can see, at least from the naked eye. Looks relatively turnkey. Let's see, how's this street look? The street looks okay. It doesn't look that great. I don't see that many updated homes, and I don't know how old these street views are. That one looks pretty good. Let's see. Looking for any like boarded up homes. I don't like that. That is not what I like. Don't know how old that home is, but I do not like seeing that much trash in front of the home. Just the trash in front of the home? I can't really tell. So doesn't look like the best area. So just remember, in Birmingham is really street by street. So make sure you guys have some local knowledge of this area so you can truly figure out whether or not it's an area that you want to be a part of. Okay. Now, the next thing I want to do is I want to get Jefferson County. All right, so this is in Jefferson County. When you look up the county, when you Google HUD FMR, HUD FMR, you want to go to the first link, and then you want to click on access the small area FMRs. You want to look up FY 2024 FMRs, go to Alabama, go to Jefferson County, and now you're going to get the rent ceiling for each zip code, each bedroom count. And the most important number here are these numbers right here, 1440 and 1600. Now, when you see that it's 1440 and 1600, these are your rent ceilings. Using these rent ceilings, what you're going to want to figure out is whether or not this property is actually going to yield you that rent ceiling, or is the market rent going to be lower? Now, if you go to affordablehousing.com, go to the owner section, go to the market rent estimator, now all of a sudden you're able to see what the market rate truly is for this area. And when you're looking at this property and you see that the market rent, which is this bottom right number here, the market rent is 20 for 25 units within a 0.55 mile radius, and the average rent is 1142. Chances are that's the rent you're able to get. So that's 11. Let's just call it 1150. Okay. So the rent we're going to use is 1150. Even though, right? Just remember, even though the rent ceiling that we saw includes utilities is 1440 for a 3-bed, or 1600 for a 4-bed. 35208. 35208. Just write down all these numbers because my partners are pretty well aware of how I analyze deals. So I'm just going to put all these deals numbers down. And now this property does not have room for a garage, so there's no really room to add extra bedrooms. So I'm only going to underwrite this deal as a 3-bed, and I'm only going to get the rents for a 3-bed. So with that in mind, rent was 1142, 1145, 1267. Just getting down on these numbers so I understand it. This is 0.55 mile radius. All right, cool. Now, the rent reasonableness test here is going to be listed right here on this spreadsheet. So this is from the HUD program that talks about the HCV, which is the Housing Choice Vouchers, which is the new name for Section 8 vouchers. So in conducting rent reasonableness, the Public Housing Authority, the PHA, must determine whether the rent to the owner is a reasonable rent in comparison to rent for other comparable unassisted units. So you can't charge more rent to a voucher holder simply because they are a voucher holder. It has to be comparable with the market. So that's why we took the lower of the two when compared to rent ceiling and the market rent. And that's how we got to $11.50 for the rent assumptions on this deal. We already got the property taxes. We're setting aside 10% for the maintenance, 8% for property management, which is right here in the 0.08. I got 5% for vacancy because someone always moves out of the home. I am going to move this rehab down to just $2,400 since it looks relatively turnkey. You can always go through the rehab spreadsheet to see what I put in there. Usually I just put aside a little bit of money for the roof in case there are any issues with the roof that I cannot see with my naked eye. And then otherwise, my other option is to have $500 set aside just to do some general cleanup. Okay. Now I got 25% down, which means my down payment is equals to my asking price multiplied by my down payment equals to $31,125. My finance amount is going to be equals to my asking price subtracting my down payment to get to my finance amount at about 8.25%. And that's going to calculate the PITI in totality for all of you. And that's how you know, assuming your rent, and let's go through these scenarios, right? Assuming you can rent this property as a 3-bedroom and the rent you're able to get was $11.50, the property will cash flow negative $60, which means that you are not really making money. It's a negative 2% cash and cash return, assuming you bought this property for $124,500. $124,500 with a $2,400 rehab. Okay. Now, if I were to say, hey, what price would I want to buy this property at in order for this to be a deal, quote unquote, right? Okay, what if I load my purchase price? Notice as I load my purchase price, what happens to this cash and cash return? So let's go to 100 grand. Okay, let's go to $80,000. Boom, 75, 78. See, I guess really sensitive. All right, so I'm no, if my return criteria was 10% or higher, I'd be willing to pay $78,000 for this deal, assuming I can rent it out as a 3-bedroom for $11.50, because I would be cash flowing $203 a month with a $2,400 rehab. And that's the exercise I really want all of us to kind of go through, right? So what if I say, hey, what if rents actually can get higher because this is a more renovated property? What if you can get $1,200, right? So now all of a sudden, if your rent was $1,200 and it's gone up $50, would you be willing to pay more for the property? The answer should be yes, because again, pay attention to what happened to this percentage. It went up when my rent went up. So that means I can afford to have a little bit more room in my asking price. I'm going to go to $80,000, $82,000, $83,000. Cool. Here we go. 10.1. So with the extra $50 in rent from $11.50 to $1,200, I am now cash flowing $213. But now I'm still making 10.1% cash and cash return. However, I'm now willing to pay $5,000 more because my purchase price can still be $83,000 and I can still reach my 10% cash and cash return because that's my own personal return criteria. Does not have to be yours. That's just my own personal criteria. That's how you decide and you run through these exercises of what will make it a deal. Right. So again, yesterday the exercise we went through was like, hey, what if my rehab was like 5 times as expensive? Like, what if someone like stole the air conditioner, or what if something really bad happens and the roof collapses during an inspection, or what if I find something during an inspection and there's no big issues? Well, now all of a sudden, if you multiply your rehab by 5 to 12 grand, well, what happened to your cash and cash return? It went down from 10.1 to 7.3. So as you move. So now what do you have to do? You have to basically pay less for the property with this higher rehab amount that you cannot finance, assuming you can't finance. So if you go down to 73,000, boom, here you go, 10.1. So again, what happened here? The rent stayed the same at $1,200. We're now cash flowing $269 a month. This is still a 10% return, but now I am only willing to pay $73,000 because why? My rehab went to $12,000. This is the problem. But this is also how you remove the emotions out of the deal, right? I went under contract and I thought, okay, I could pick $1,200 maybe because I talked to a property manager that really knows the area and that's the rent they've been getting for similar properties with similar make, model, and finishes. But my inspection reviewed that my repairs were going to cost 5 times more. So now all of a sudden, I'm paying almost $10,000 more in rehab, but what will make it a deal? And when you keep it to just the math, you will notice that, hey, I can only pay 73 grand for this deal now to make the number float for my own personal criteria. And again, this is not investment advice. I'm not soliciting any investments on this call at all. I'm just simply showing you how to be a little bit less afraid and help you determine what your own personal criteria is. And based on that criteria, how do you follow through the steps to adjust and pull on the different levers of a deal so you can figure out what will take the emotions out of the deal and help you stay focused on, can I quantify the problem? And once you're able to quantify the problem, then hopefully in that scenario, that's where you feel a little bit more confident that you know what you're doing. And from that point onwards, you can carry on and continue analyzing more deals. Because just remember, all it takes is just 18 minutes a day. If you do this for 18 minutes a day, you'll be better at analyzing deals in 95% of the country. And the only way for you to get a confidence is for you to do the work every single day. And when you put your own YouTube channel, and you can just copy my homework, analyze the same deal I analyzed today using the same spreadsheet. Just DM me your email on Instagram at InvestWithKenHe, and my team will send it out to you. She's on a holiday break this week, so she'll probably send it on Sunday. But please put in the work. Do it together. Do it alongside me. That's the only way we can build confidence. And sometimes we only get scared because we don't know what the options are. Well, this is just one of the options that you can pick to get started. And learning how to spot a deal, or better yet, learning how to spot what's not a deal, in my opinion, is a pretty strong skill set and a pretty important one. Because if a partner ever asks you, hey, why do you think this is a deal? You can say, hey, I know this is a deal because I've looked at a deal every single day for the past 236 days, and they're all not deals. I've been doing the same thing, same boring thing every single day. But that's what it takes for consistency to compound, for you to explain your underwriting process better, and most importantly, have a little bit of conviction and a little bit more confidence that you know what you're doing. All right. I hope you guys all have an amazing Thursday. And if I don't talk to you for Memorial Day weekend, I hope you guys have an amazing weekend. I hope you guys spend some quality time with your family and friends this weekend, because that's what life is all about. All right. I'll be working. I'll be here. So have an amazing weekend. I'll see you again tomorrow for day 237. Have a good one, everybody.